Can you press into this a little bit? God is speaking to me, because I know a lot of people, when I try to share what that experience is like, they're like, "Oh, God doesn't speak to me." What do you mean God speaks to you? How did that? What was the experience that I think God is speaking to me? Press into that a little bit.
Well, I've since found the language of Saint Ignatius to be extremely helpful. So what he describes is spiritual consolation, and he lists then a number of different qualities that can have. So we can say, when God's grace touches our hearts, it reverberates in our bodies in particular ways. And let me describe the whole set, and then I'll go into my own experience of this. So our hearts inflamed with love, lifted up above every creature, filled with spiritual joy, an increase in faith, an increase in hope, moved to tears out of love for God and awareness of our own sins or his love for us in the Passion, and then peace and inner quiet and calm. Right? So this is a whole variety of ways that we experience in our bodies that God is present. And then Ignatius basically says the thoughts that come to us in that time are connected with the Lord. So we don't want to say it's whatever, word for word, but we're hearing. And I really love the way that Newman describes conscience as the echo of the voice of God within us. So conscience is that place, that faculty that can receive God's voice, and it echoes within us. Now, if we warp our conscience, then we can't hear his voice, right? But as our conscience is formed, that echo chamber is able to receive, and then it resounds. And what does it sound like? It sounds like my thoughts. So,
yes.
So my thoughts, but then the combination of that with this spiritual consolation. So in that experience for me, as I remember, I feel it's like everything kind of melted away. So a little bit like being lifted up above all creatures, that total interior quiet. We know the normal whirring, buzzing, words, noises, distractions, all the stuff that's going on in us in a normal way. All of that cleared apart. And then the words that came through were very clear. And so again, in my thoughts, but I had a sense, and it all sort of slows down a bit too. And I say, I remember thinking, oh, wow, you're present was the first sense that I had, and I could acknowledge that, and that echoed back. And then I said, well, oh my gosh, well, how do I need to change my life to be more pleasing to you?
Tell me if this resonates, like times where I have felt those deep consolations of a presence, and you're kind of like grasping at words to describe it, because these are spiritual experiences that don't fit nice and neatly into our language, right? So you're trying to use images, metaphors, whatever, to get to these truths. But when I have felt this presence, a divine presence, I would say that what corresponds to that presence is the sense that another is here, and I'm known by this other. It's a feeling to me of I am known. And there are aspects of my inner mystery that are being seen. And you can't escape the being seen, and you don't want to escape it, because in being seen and being known, you're also being loved.
Yes.
And it's the opposite of that, like embarrassment when something interior gets exposed that you didn't want to be put out there, and then you feel this like, ugh. But the presence of that love is such that, there's a presence that's present to me, that knows me, and there's nothing I need to hide because he sees it all. And this presence is a presence of love. Is that
beautiful?
Does that correspond to your?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Some of the deepest consolations I've ever had in this life are summed up with that sense of there is a presence here that knows me.
Yes.
And loves me.
Yes.
And can tell me things about myself that you come to be convinced this is a divine presence, because how else would these things about me be known?
Yeah, that's right.
And it taps something so deep that I think it's beyond words, but it's a sense of I don't need to hide anymore. I don't need to play games anymore. I don't need the fig leaves can go. The facades that we hide behind, the masks we hide behind. This reminds me of one of my favorite lines in the Catechism on contemplative prayer. It says, contemplative prayer is where we let our masks fall.
Yes.
So we can allow ourselves to be loved as we are. And we present ourselves, and this is exactly where you were going, like, how do I need to change now? Like there's something, and the Catechism says, in this, when the masks come down, we feel that presence, we're loved as we are, but the Catechism goes on, the next line is, we present ourselves as we are, but to enable ourselves to be purified.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that presence of love, you also see what in me is contrary to that love. And then you feel the need for purifications.